If you think the only reason someone may have a different viewpoint than you, this could be political, social, cultural, religious, anything. If your worldview is just that everyone who disagrees with me is stupid and or uninformed, then that's a sign of, extreme arrogance, extreme pride, and also just complete lack of empathy and stupidity on your own part. If you can't, I have my own beliefs.
Yep.
But outside of perhaps the most completely insane beliefs that may exist out there,
Yeah.
I don't find it particularly difficult to understand why other people have different beliefs, whether that's political. I'm very much I'm a theist. I've believed in God. I've been a Christian my entire life. I don't find it particularly intellectually difficult to understand why someone would look at the world and everything in it and conclude that God does not or cannot exist. That's not my conclusion, but it's not exactly hard for me to understand. It's not hard for me to understand why someone would follow a different faith or a different religion. And even if I was confused by it, it's like, oh, look, there's all these billions of people out there with different viewpoints. Why don't I talk to them and have conversations? And at least, even if we don't agree, we'll understand each other's perspectives. And I've done that, I don't know how many thousands of times throughout my life. And it kind of amazes me that someone can make it into adulthood and has never had that conversation, right? Someone's like, oh, everyone I know is liberal and I don't know any conservative. I was like, so you're 40 years old and you're claiming you've never met a conservative person in 40 years. Firstly, that can't be true. And secondly, that's your bad. Like that's you're isolating yourself so much that you're blinding yourself to the way billions of people across the world think.
That's why censorship is so dangerous. With discussion comes enlightenment. So when you isolate yourself and you only hear one view, you don't get to see the other thing. When you don't discuss, you don't learn why they think that way, what happened, and you're unable to talk about it and perhaps reach either a new conclusion or a hybrid conclusion, right? Like let's take abortion. I know it's always, every election it comes up. It's crazy, right? So I understand both sides.
Yeah.
I truly do. But let's say one person is staunchly pro-life, one person is staunchly pro-abortion or pro-choice. So and a lot of times there's no middle ground, but sometimes in society you have to make compromises. That's why with the pro-life people, which by the way, I'm pro-life, but I understand the other side.
Yes.
I understand the bodily autonomy. I understand their thought. I was pro-choice up until my wife had a miscarriage because I was like, it's not a baby.
Yeah.
And then you lose a baby. And you're like, well, that's not a fetus. That's a baby. I just lost a child. Yeah. So, but I understand both sides. But when you're not talking about it, when you're just calling everybody else Nazis and this and that, you're losing the opportunity to discuss and potentially bring someone on your team or learn something new for yourself. But people are so afraid to admit they're wrong. And we're seeing that about 2020.
Yes.
Right? You're seeing this disconnect with the factual reality where people are still stuck in their bubble of their belief because they refuse to admit that they were wrong. And that's the problem. Pride is a great thing. It can also be a very dangerous thing. And I think we're seeing that right now in society.
Yeah. Well, it's the top of the 7 deadly sins for a reason because all of the other ones are downstream of it. I think one of the problems with the word pride is actually a limitation of the English language. So in other languages, they have multiple words for pride.
Really?
Yes. And it's a sort of a failure of the English language that there's only one word. In the same way, we only have one word for love. And in other languages, there can be multiple words for it because the way you love donuts is not the same way you love your wife or love your children. And the way you love your friend is not the same way you love your wife, right? But we use the same word for it all. We just say, oh, love, I love this. I love that movie. I love my child. I love my cat. Right? Like it shouldn't be the same word. So pride is similar. There's a type of pride that's absolutely positive. If you say, I'm proud to be a father, or I'm proud to be an American, or I'm proud of winning that bodybuilding competition, or I'm proud of what my business has achieved, that is something positive. No one would say, oh, no, that's sinful. You shouldn't be proud of being a father. No, that would be very strange. But there's a type of pride which is arrogance, vanity, thinking you are above other people, looking down on other people. There's a type of pride which means that you don't learn and you're blocked off to all other viewpoints because you don't want to deal with your ego, right? So that's another form of pride. And I'm just thinking it's kind of a shame that it's all the same word because they all kind of get conflated and people get confused by it.
It's also human nature. We want to belong to a group.
Yeah.
Right? That's why you see, if the left comes out with an ideology like, oh, we're pro this, boom, everybody's on board. Nobody questions it. No, we're doing this. And the right does the same thing. Both sides do, because humans are very tribal. We want to belong. We want to fit in. We want to be in a group. We don't want to be isolated. We don't want to be alone. But in that, there are people, like I would say you and myself, who are free thinkers, who question, who go against the grain, who go against the narrative. That's a dangerous place to be, because every time you do that, you're susceptible to being attacked by groupthink. So like in 2020, if you immediately said, what's going on? Boom, what'd they do? They censored you, they shut you out, they suppressed you. So that's the danger of it. And that's the danger of censorship. That's the danger of controlling the narrative. The beauty of a free speech society, and I could say America has the First Amendment, which is what makes us special. So the danger of the word misinformation, that's a dangerous word. And the word conspiracy theorist, we should question everything. Like, here's the thing. Well, the election integrity, right? Oh, 2020 was stolen. Audit it. We don't need to audit it. It was completely fair. Well, then audit it. Show it was fair, right? Are we against auditing things now? Is the IRS going to stop auditing American citizens because we said it's true? No, I swear I didn't lie on my returns, but we're going to audit you. No, you don't audit me. You're questioning the integrity of my taxes. Since when did auditing become something the government's against? Why can they audit sovereign citizens when they can't audit their own elections? Everybody should want the election be audited. If I were the Democrats, like, audit it. It's all good, bro. Nope, we can't audit. Oh, no, it's already done. The statute of limitations is over. We should audit every election. Elections are so important. Every election. Every single one, whether it's won by a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, a libertarian, libertarians will never win, but whether it's won by any of those groups, we need to audit everything. Why were they so against auditing the election? Why all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're an election denier? No, I'm an election auditor. I'm an election checker. I'm an election truther, which means that I want to know what really happened. I want to make it hater proof. I want to make everything hater proof. If I audit that election, it's hater proof. And now you can have a group of haters out there, but they're justified haters because you didn't audit the election. Why were the Democrats so against auditing the election?